Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we tear through your reading stack so you don't have to.
Today, we are getting into the philosophy of a figure known pretty much universally in the world of cricket as the Wall.
We're talking about Rahul Dravid. And while most people know him for his just extraordinary volume of runs, the sources we've looked at unlock something I think far more valuable.
Yeah.
A philosophy for navigating pressure, for achieving that long-term, quiet success.
That's our mission today. We are looking far beyond just the match scores to analyze his core principles. The patience, the discipline, strategy, process.
All of it.
As a player, as a coach, and really as a person. And we've got sources ranging from his emotional farewell speech to some really deep data analysis and even articles that frame the whole 5-day test match format as a metaphor for life.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
The sheer endurance of this athlete is unbelievable. I mean, we're discussing a kind of staying power that is almost unheard of in modern sports.
Exactly. And we have to start with the foundation of his legend, patience. But not just as, like, a defensive thing. Patience as an aggressive superpower.
His nickname, the Wall. It speaks to that unbreachable defense he had, right?
It does, but the actual statistics, they reveal the immense mental commitment that was behind it.
So when we move beyond just raw run totals, what's the single most compelling statistic you found that reveals the true scale of his staying power?
It's the time spent on the field.
At the crease.
At the crease. The sources highlight this one incredible number. Across his 164 test matches, Rahul Dravid spent, get this, 44,152 minutes batting.
Wow.
44,000 minutes. That translates to more time at the crease than anyone in the entire history of Test cricket.
Just think about that. 735 hours of focused, unrelenting concentration against world-class bowlers.
It requires a very specific kind of mental toughness.
And nothing crystallizes that commitment better than the 2003 Adelaide Test against Australia. We have to set the scene for you. India had not won a test in Australia in 23 years. And they were in a truly perilous position early in that game.
They certainly were. Australia posted a massive first inning score of 556.
A huge total.
So when Dravid walked in, India was deep in trouble at just 85 runs for 4 wickets down. I mean, that was a crisis point. The whole series was about to swing irrevocably against them.
And he didn't just save the game, he completely inverted the pressure.
He anchored the entire response. He batted and he batted and he batted, scoring 233 runs in that first innings.
Incredible.
And then he followed that up with an unbeaten 72 runs in the second innings to actually seal the win.
The sources emphasized that his entire effort spanned nearly 14 hours, just 5 minutes short of a full 14 hours of continuous concentration.
And that effort resulted in India's first test win in Australia in over 2 decades. And the moment that followed, with the Australian captain, Steve Waugh, that speaks volumes.
Oh, yeah. He collected the winning ball and presented it to Dravid.
He did. And Waugh rarely offered that kind of high praise. He called Dravid a truly worthy adversary who had completed the journey he sought. It was just pure respect earned through sheer attrition.
And the analysis also points out his success was critical for India's progress abroad.
Absolutely. His percentage of test centuries scored overseas 58%, and outside Asia, which is even harder, 39%. Those were higher than some of the other really highly acclaimed Indian players of his era.
So he was the guy. The man you relied on when the pitches were tough and the pressure was at its absolute highest.
That really drives home this idea that steady, determined effort builds trust, not just in your teammates, but in your own long-term capability, especially when you are operating way outside your comfort zone.
Right. He held the innings together when conditions were toughest, and that set the stage for the bigger victories.
That's the key takeaway.
Which moves us beautifully to the second theme in our sources. This idea that traditional data can often miss the point. One of the books cited here, Numbers Do Lie, makes a pretty controversial argument.
Yeah, this is where we introduce the impact index. Traditional cricket stats are simple volume, right? How many runs, how many wickets?
The basics.
The impact index reframes this. It judges performance in the context of the match situation. So it specifically weights runs scored under high pressure when the team desperately needs them, as being far more valuable than, say, runs scored when the game is already settled.
And that conclusion, based on the impact index, is pretty controversial. It rates Dravid ahead of the highest run scorer in the game, Sachin Tendulkar, in terms of Test cricket impact.
It does.
So if traditional runs aren't the measure, what is the impact index telling us about their different roles?
That's a necessary challenge. And the analysis justifies this by focusing on their batting positions and the kind of pressure they each absorbed. Dravid batted at number 3.
Okay, so for listeners who might not follow cricket that closely, the number 3 batsman is basically the first crisis manager.
That's a great way to put it. He often came in when the team score was like 10 runs for 1 wicket down, or even worse.
Right into the fire.
Exactly. He absorbed the maximum early pressure. He's dealing with the freshest, fastest bowlers, the swinging new ball, and his job was just to stabilize the entire game.
So his job was to soak up all that early chaos.
Yes. His pressure absorption stabilized the innings, creating a solid foundation. And this is what allowed a legendary player like Tendulkar, who batted at number 4,
To come in later.
to come in later after the initial storm had passed and bat what the analysis calls carefree.
Meaning he could just focus on dominating, on winning the game.
Precisamente. Dravid performed the essential dirty work that wasn't flashy but was absolutely foundational.
I find that whole idea fascinating, valuing the hidden contribution. And the sources note this non-traditional data was used to predict success for others, too.
They do. The impact index methodology was already highlighting the crucial pressure absorption skills of a young Virat Kohli.
Really?
Yeah. In the 2011 World Cup, for instance, his contributions sometimes looked kind of marginal on the scorecard, like his crucial 35 runs in the final. But the analysis noted his ability to stabilize the innings under massive pressure was critical.
So that raises an important question for you, the listener. In your own career, are you focusing only on the visible runs, the glamorous headline-making results?
Or are you consistently performing the quiet, foundational pressure absorption that enables the overall team win? The impact index really forces us to recognize and value that hidden engine of success.
Okay, let's pivot now. From the player's performance to the overarching philosophy. The sources repeatedly frame the test match format, the 5-day game, as a powerful reflection of life and leadership, demanding long-term strategy, mental strength, and, of course, immense patience.
The research paper we looked at outlines several core life lessons embedded in that 5-day crucible. The first, obviously, is patience.
Exemplified by those marathon innings we just talked about.
Right. Dravid's 14-hour effort in Adelaide, or his 740-minute, 270-run knock in Rawalpindi. The lesson is undeniable. True, sustainable success comes from consistent, steady effort, not from seeking quick, instant outcomes.
The format also teaches strategy. It's almost like long-term business leadership. How the captain treats field placements is like chess, you know?
Small, smart moves to limit resources or force a critical mistake. And this is mirrored in wise resource management, like the strategic timing of bowling rotations. Captains have to use their resources wisely.
They can't just burn out their best bowlers on day one.
No way. They use fast bowlers with the new ball, then rotate in spinners to conserve energy and slow the scoring rate, and then bring the quicks back when they sense a weakness. That takes immense foresight, adaptability. You're managing energy reserves over 5 days.
Then there's mental fortitude, which is just essential to surviving those 5 days without burnout. The sources detail specific psychological techniques cricketers use to stay focused.
They do. And the core practice is breaking the monumental task down into small, manageable moments. Batsmen are intense about the one ball at a time philosophy.
Right, forcing themselves to completely relax between deliveries.
And they employ reset rituals. These are tiny, conscious habits like adjusting gloves, tapping the bat 3 times, designed to clear distractions and intentionally refocus the mind.
The analysis also touches on something called the psychological ABC model alarm: belief, coping to manage stress. Could you explain what that looks like on the field?
Certainly. So an alarm signal goes off, say they miss a difficult shot or the other team takes a key wicket. That's the A. The player recognizes that spike in stress. Then comes B, belief. The immediate internal reaffirmation of their skill and preparation. I've done this 1,000 times in practice.
And C is coping.
Coping, which is the physical action, often that reset ritual or a deep breath, designed to regain control and refocus on the immediate task. It's a mechanism for preventing one mistake from spiraling into a total collapse.
All of this is preparation for the long game. And speaking of long games, Dravid himself offered this fantastic analogy for patience, comparing his journey to the Chinese bamboo.
This is one of the most powerful insights from the material. Dravid explains that you plant the Chinese bamboo seed, you water it, you nurture it, and you wait.
For 5 years.
For 5 entire years, you see absolutely nothing happening above ground. It's just dormant. You've invested time, effort, resources with zero visible result.
5 years of invisible effort. That's a long time to keep the faith.
It is. But then suddenly, in the 6th year, over the next 6 weeks, it shoots up 90 feet, sometimes growing an astounding 39 inches every 24 hours.
And people who just see that rapid growth, they assume the bamboo grew 90 feet in those 6 weeks.
But that's not the reality.
I know.
Dravid's conclusion is that it didn't grow 90 feet in 6 weeks. It grew 90 feet in 5 years and 6 weeks. It spent those 5 years building the robust root structure needed to support that sudden, rapid explosion of growth.
Without that foundation, the visible success would have been impossible.
That is the essence of his approach to his career and really his life.
And that perfect analogy sets us up for our final section, looking at his philosophy and leadership.
Yeah.
Dravid took that playing style, the patience, the process, that long-term vision, and he applied it directly to managing the Indian team culture as a coach.
As head coach, his approach was defined by continuity and security. He openly said he abhorred shopping and changing the side too much.
He hated it.
He believed that constant selection changes created instability, fostered a debilitating fear of failure, and just compromised the whole team environment.
So the focus was entirely on creating this protective professional space.
Exactly. He aimed to create an environment that lacked a fear of failure, so players could focus entirely on their execution, rather than constantly worrying about the consequence of one mistake.
Challenging, but safe.
Challenging enough to push them, but safe enough for them to take risks. And this connects directly to his famous focus on the process over the results.
Right.
He was very clear about his role. He said, I'm in the business to produce results, but it's always like, as a coach, to think about what is it that I can control to help the results.
So focus on the inputs.
Focus on the inputs. He believed if you tick the boxes on preparation, tactics, supporting the players, getting the environment right, focusing entirely on the roots, then the winning will take care of itself.
And his leadership style was fundamentally selfless. His responsibility, as he saw it, was simply to help the captain, Rohit Sharma, deliver his vision.
And that selflessness, it wasn't just limited to coaching. His career is packed with examples of him prioritizing the team over any personal glory.
The sources highlight a few key acts, like playing 73 one-day internationals as a wicketkeeper, which wasn't his natural position at all.
Not at all. He did it purely to aid the overall team balance. But the anecdote that truly underscores his commitment to the fundamental spirit of the game, that came well after he retired.
After he retired from everything. Top-tier cricket.
It was October 2013. His childhood club, the Bangalore United Cricket Club, was facing relegation in a crucial match in the lowest division of domestic cricket.
And their coach asked Dravid, the global legend, to step in and save them.
And he agreed. He played for his boyhood club simply to help them survive. And he scored 113 runs to earn the crucial points the team needed.
I mean, he came out of retirement to play a relegation match in the lowest tier, all for the club that raised him. That is the ultimate commitment to the team, regardless of the stage.
It's the ultimate team player mentality.
Yeah.
And it's beautifully synthesized in his farewell speech. He reflected that his approach was always simple. Giving everything to the team. It was about playing with dignity, and it was about upholding the spirit of the game. He concluded that he leaves with sadness, but also with pride.
That pride is so well earned. This deep dive really shows that Dravid's career teaches us that the highest impact often comes not from the most glamorous scats, but from that quiet, persistent effort and the absorption of pressure. We need to value those roots, the consistent process, the stability over the rapid, visible growth of the moment.
And Test cricket reminds us that life isn't a quick sprint to one single goal. It's a series of 5 challenging days, each demanding attention and mental effort. The sources note that gaining momentum can come from celebrating the small victories, like turning a shaky 20-run partnership into a stable 50-run stand. Those little wins, they boost belief and they sustain you for the long journey.
So let's leave you with this final thought. If you view your current biggest challenge not as a single hurdle, but as a 5-day test match, what is the single selfless decision you could make today to absorb pressure for your team or your long-term goal, even if it doesn't immediately show up on your personal scorecard?